All right, welcome everybody. Let's begin on our back, either with those knees bent, feet to the earth, or starting out in Shavasana with those legs extended long. Have a block handy for the practice, and we'll get ready for our flow. And as we start out on the mat, just take a moment here, close your eyes, begin that process of moving inward with your mind, your awareness, as you tune into your breath. And just begin to breathe your way back to center, letting the mind disentangle from the outside world as breath by breath leads you back inward. And just noticing as you embody your mind and become more mindful of the sensations, just noticing what you're working with this morning, the level of your physical body. And as you tune in to any body parts or sensations that are needing a little extra attention, patience, an opportunity to release, just tune into that now. And then just offering acceptance, however the body is showing up this morning. Perhaps even saying, I accept my body as it is, working with it rather than against it as we move through the practice. And then stabilize the mind, give it one thing to focus on and to come home to. Using the power of one word, statement, or intention. And then breath by breath, start to feel, imagine that the mind and body are coming back together into a state of union, a harmonious alignment, into a place of yoga. And this morning's inspiration, as we collectively tune in to our intention. And this is a good reminder. I've said this throughout the years, happy people don't hurt people. So this is a good reminder. Hurt people hurt others. But luckily, healed people heal others. Safe people shelter others. Free spirits free others. Enlightened people illuminate others. And love always wins. So today, remember to shine your light of love on all who may cross your path in life. Because what you do each day matters. So we can think about this. And again, I'll repeat it near the end of the practice. But we can approach each day from a place of, what do I have to give? How can I show up differently? How might I show up better than I did yesterday? And that might be showing up for yourself in a better way through self-care. It might be showing up for your nervous system in a new way by taking pauses, having less stimulation or overwhelm throughout the day. But remember, everything you do on behalf of yourself in terms of healing, awakening, growing, you're actually contributing to the whole. So rather than thinking of it as a selfish, indulgent thing, think of it as something necessary, right? We're part of the whole. So everything we do in our own individual lives ripples out and affects everyone and everything around us. So with that, let's begin to work with the practice as we start to move. Come back to your breath now, inhaling deeply. Exhale completely. And then stretch the legs out long. If they're bent, just lengthen them out, and we'll just start to navigate through the legs, the hips, the spine as we wake up and prepare for deeper movement. So with those arms by your sides, feel free to have those eyes closed or directed on one focal point above you. Let's inhale, reach the arms overhead. Spread the fingers, point through the toes, take up as much space as you can here. And then on your next exhale, hug your right knee in. And let's just pause for a moment. Let that lower back release. Let your belly expand freely as you breathe. And point and flex that right foot. Just giving a sense of waking up through the ankle, foot, and toes. And then take that circling around in one direction. And the other direction. And then let that right foot relax here and rock your whole right thigh side to side as we go a little deeper into the hip, lower back, and gluteal area. And then bring it back through center and flex all 10 toes, dorsiflexion through those feet. Option to stay right here, or with that next exhalation, engage your core as you gently curl your head towards that right knee. And then release, head to the earth. Arms by your sides, extend that right leg out at an angle, pressing out through the heel. Point your toes, flex your foot, and then lower it all the way down. As that right foot comes down, shake it out. Let's take it to the other side. Inhale, arms reach, toes point. Exhale, bring left knee into the chest. And just like we did on that first side, pause for a moment here, really feeling into that abdomen as you breathe. Feel that low back releasing. Point and flex your left foot, waking up the ankles, foot, and toes here. Preparing for our standing sequence that will follow later on in the practice. Circle your ankle one direction and the other direction. And then let that left foot relax. Take a breath here. Exhale, rock the whole left thigh now side to side. And then as you bring that leg back to neutral, flex all 10 toes towards your shins. Option to stay right here. Or with that next exhale, activate the core to lift the head. And then release, head back to the earth. And releasing, arms by your sides. Extend that left leg out at an angle so the hip can stay grounded. Point your toes, flex the foot, lower it all the way down. And then just shake out those legs for a moment. Let's bring those two sides together with our Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet touch. Knees opening out in a diamond shape, arms by your sides. Let's take 3 rounds here, arching that low back now as we inhale, tilting those hip bones forward, expanding the breath through the ribs and the abdomen. Exhale, engage the core as you empty the breath, moving the spine in the opposite direction. Take that 2 more times with your breath. Inhale and exhale. Last one. And as you exhale with that final round, arms by your sides, squeeze those knees together and then bring those knees into the chest. So both sides coming in and rock it out side to side. And then option as we pause at center here, you can certainly stay right here, or we bring those two sides together. On the next exhalation, option to lift the head into both knees. And then release, head to the earth. And let's extend the legs to the sky. So pressing out through those heels, hands can be at the back of the thighs. Exhale, bend. Let's do that again. Inhale, lengthen any amount, reaching out through those hamstrings. Exhale, bend. Next one will lead us into a V shape, getting into those inner thighs, press out through those heels. So again, if we're bending the knees, that's okay. Point the toes, flex the feet, and then open into a V shape, pressing out through those heels as you anchor and ground through your core and lower back. Offer a deep breath in. Exhale it out. One more here. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze those legs back together. Hug the knees into the chest and rock it out side to side. Now, before we come up and continue with some heat building, let's just take a windshield wiper twist. So step those feet wider than your mat if possible. Stretch your arms straight out from your shoulders so those shoulder blades can be flat to the earth, palms are face up. Inhale here with that belly expanding. Exhale, knees go to the left. As you turn your head to the right, angle your chin towards your right shoulder as you deliberately breathe into that right rib cage. Feel it moving as you breathe. Relax your jaw, soften the face. And then next inhale, bring it back through center. Exhale, take it the opposite direction, knees to the right, head to the left. And then feel that breath expanding through the left ribs here. And then bring it back to center with your next breath. And let's just ease that first stage of happy baby. So the tailbone stays on the ground and just reaching for the back of your thighs or right behind those knees. Take a full breath in. Exhale it out. Feels good. Rock it out side to side. And we're going to prepare to come up here in the next few breaths. So as you bring those knees back in, you can simply roll to one side to press yourself up. Or if you prefer, taking a spinal rock to make your way up. And then let's come onto all fours, onto the hands and knees. So as we set up for tabletop, grab any padding you might want for those knees, blocks for the hands if that's helpful. And then spread those fingers wide. And let's take a few rounds of full cat-cow before we reach back to our first downward dog. With the inhalation, start the movement from the base of the spine by curling that tailbone up, belly descends, head lifts, and then reverse that as you exhale. Use that strong core to draw the body up as you release that breath out. And then take this a few more times with your breath, feeling into that stretch through the front body on the inhale, and relaxing, releasing into that stretch, the back body with each exhale. And then after one or two more, feel free to reach it back to child's pose or ease into your first downward dog of the practice. And if you are taking downward dog, take a few moments here to really walk it out, stretch it out. And this should feel good, just like we see little puppies stretching or dogs stretching. They're typically enjoying that stretch. So see if you can recreate that in your body. Feel like there's less pressure on the hands and shoulders by bending the knees and feeling some weight pressing back through the hips and the legs. And then doing your best to really let the weight of the head go here. See if you can let go of some of that tension through the neck, shoulders, upper back. And then one more breath wherever you are. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. And then we'll make our way to the top of the mat. So looking forward, step up and fold into your Uttanasana forward fold. Roll those shoulders. Let the head go here. Bend those knees as much as you need to feel like your body is supported here. And one more breath. And as you bend those knees, hips descend, hands to thighs, let's press all the way up to stand. Shoulders draw up, back, and down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we're going to pause in our halfway flat back for a moment. So have those knees bent as much as you need to get that spine as straight as possible. Those shoulders back, gaze is slightly out in front of you. And if you want to add on, squeeze those arms into your sides, isometrically waking up through those triceps. Deep breath in. Now as you exhale, transition into chair pose. See if you can lighten the weight on the toes here. Hug the core in as that tailbone scoops under. And then inhale, come back up to stand. Exhale, let's take our side stretch, leaning to the right. Inhale to center, strong core, arms up. Exhale, lengthen to the left. Inhale through center, arms reach. Exhale, release and fold, Uttanasana, back to the earth. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Let's step it back with the right leg for lunge. Your choice to work with low or mid lunge as we get started this morning. Feeling into that release to the right hip flexor. And if that leg is straight, really activate here. Squeeze those right glutes, press through that right heel. Elevate those hands on blocks if that's helpful. And then relax your jaw, soften your face. Take 3 more breaths here, feeling into that release of the right hip flexor. And then reversing the lunge, so take another inhale here. Exhale, rock those hips back, whether that knee is on the ground or lifted. And fold over your left leg. Inhale, let's lengthen the chest. Or lift the chest. Exhale, let's fold. Head releases towards that thigh. Deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And then lifting up, press into that left hand, that left foot. Take it to the next stage. So you can stay right here if you want to work with balance. Find that focal point out in front of you. You can certainly keep those hands on the ground. If you want to build a little bit more heat here, maybe you're ready to rise up into your high lunge. Keep that focal point established, shoulders relax. And then wherever you are, let's take 3 breaths. Inhale deeply. Exhale it out. And then with that next exhale, if those hands are lifted, let's bring them back down to the earth. Step it back and make a choice. Pause and plank. Work through your vinyasa. or press it back, downward dog and or child's pose. And then reaching it back, finding your reset here. And every time we reset between poses, take a moment to refocus the mind, reconnect with that intention. And if it resonates, you might even think that passage I shared, right? So when we see people out in the world that are hurtful, harmful, angry, we can recognize perhaps the suffering and pain that's present inside of them that would inspire them to be or act in such a way. So rather than judging it, we can learn to have compassion or perhaps understanding around it. So let's come on up. Let's step the right foot forward. And then just try to match the progression if possible. So if we started out with low lunge, try to repeat that here. If you went right into mid lunge, again, you can mirror that on this side if it's available. And then just pause, soften, connect, whatever's showing up on the second side. Back to the fullness of your breath, relaxing through the face, neck, and jaw. And we'll reverse the lunge in the next breath or two. So coming back to the inhale, feel that expansion. Exhale, feel into the release. And then whether that knee is on the ground or lifted, let's reverse the lunge, pressing into that right foot as you extend your right leg. Reach those toes up. And then inhale, lift through the chest, through the spine. Exhale, fold. Let it all go as you drape your body over that right leg, offering a deep breath in. Soft sigh, let it go. And then as you come on up, press into that right foot again. Option to stay right with where you just were, or take the balance option, lifting those hands, either low lunge or coming up to high lunge. And then just pausing as you feel that refinement of alignment, the tailbone drawing under, that left glute is engaged, heart space lifted, shoulders are relaxed, mind is focused, body is balanced. Next exhale, bring those hands back down and then make a choice. Press it back. You can pause and plank. And if you are working with plank this morning, you want to elevate it a bit with a little core work, you can micro bend the knees and extend. So just a micro movement here, but noticing how that activates your deeper abdominal muscles. And so if that's working for you, you can always take that option in between these sets of poses. And then once you feel complete, take it back to downward dog and or child's pose. Breathing in, let it go. And then from here, let's look up, make our way back to lunge. We're going to add a twist here. So taking the left foot forward, grab your block if it's nearby, place that to the inside of the left foot, whatever setting is easiest for you to reach that right hand into with keeping that chest lifted so we're not rounding or hunching to reach the floor. And then bring your left hand to your outer left knee. Inhale, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, twisting halfway to your left. And then if you're adding on, you can straighten that right leg. We also have the option to come back to balance here. Right elbow to that left thigh. So take it step by step, breath by breath. And that right knee can always stay on the ground. You always have that option if it becomes too much. And then on your next exhale, let's untwist. Step it back and through. Option for downward dog or three-legged dog. If you want to lift that left leg up, perhaps bend and stack the hips. And then release. If you're in three-legged dog, walk it out. We're going to take it right over to the other side. So stepping forward with that right foot. We can always come down to all fours to make that transition. And bringing that block to the inside of the right foot. And then opening up into that twist as we rotate to the right. So feeling into that stretch for the hip flexors, still there, even though we got it, twist. And then feel free to take it to that next step if it's available on this side. But we're in no rush to get there. Letting the breath and the body work together with the mind to take that next step if it's advantageous to do so. So let's take another breath here into the twist. And then as you release, those hands come back down. Step it back. Again, downward dog or three-legged dog, if that worked for you on that first side. And then once you're complete, walk it out, downward dog. Deep breath in. Exhale with a sigh. Let's make our way back towards the top of the mat into forward fold, Uttanasana, belly to thighs, let the shoulders release. And then bend those knees, pass through chair as we come all the way back up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Take a moment to pause, come back to your intention, but notice what you've awakened in your body. Notice your heat, the breath rate, heart rate. Imagine the purification that's taking place by that heat that you're building. And then we're going to set up for warrior one. So as you're ready, opening those eyes, if you close them, hands to hips, have your block out in front of you at the highest setting. If you prefer 2 blocks, you can work with that. And we're just going to step back with the left leg for warrior one. So remember, we want those hips facing forward. Feet can be a little wider apart so you feel stable here. And just like we did with our lunge a minute ago, actively press through the heel and engage those left glutes. And then from there, bending into that right knee. But keeping that tailbone under, you're going to feel that glute engage. The moment we lose that, we have a tendency to go into the lower back. So keeping that strength and stability from the glute all the way to the heel. And then from here, we can reach those arms up. Bend the elbows as we bring those arms off to the side. Just keeping a softness in the shoulders here. Breathe in and breathe out. Now actively press those feet into the earth. And we're just going to straighten the front leg as the arms come up. Bend the front knee as those arms come back and down. So all the while, that left glute, left leg is active, and it's just a slight bending and straightening of that right knee. But we don't change the engagement of that left glute. And therefore, we keep that lower spinal curve neutral rather than going into a big back bend. Now, next time you bend the right knee, squeeze those arms into the side body, palms facing each other. Press into that left heel as you lean forward, not rounding, but lengthening the spine forward. So really press into that left heel, squeeze those hands toward each other. Chest is open, collarbones broad, and breathe. Press those feet into the earth. Feel like those feet are pressing in opposite directions from each other. And then on your next breath, straighten that front leg, arms reach all the way up. And then bring those hands to the hips. So we're going to ease toward our pyramid into revolved triangle. So again, grounding that left heel if it's lifted. Micro bend your right knee. And let's lengthen forward so you're hinging from your hip crease. Belly touching thigh. And then from here, drape your body over that right leg. Feel free to ground yourself or support yourself with a block or two so those hands are supported with something. If that left heel has lifted, shorten your stance so you can ground that left heel again. And then take a moment again for here, another breath. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Feeling into that deeper stretch, the whole back of the right leg. And then inhale, come on up. Take that block slightly in front of the right foot to the inside of the big toe. Left hand on that block. Take your right hand to steer your right hip back. And it's just a little half twist. We're not trying to overdo it. And you can keep your gaze on the ground or maybe look to the right. But see if you can emphasize a nice long spine here. Breathe in, breathe out. And then on your next breath, untwist, soften the bend in that right knee. And again, drape your body over that right leg. Deep breath in, exhale, let it go. Bending into your right knee, hands to thigh. Press evenly through both legs as you come all the way back up. Straighten that right leg, arms reach, hands to the heart. Breathe in, breathe out, step forward and pause. In Tadasana, let those shoulders relax, arms by your sides. Close your eyes and just reconcile that first side, pausing, noticing what showed up on that first side. And then just take a moment, visualize yourself repeating this on the second side, maybe feeling a little bit more relaxed, at ease, right? Present with whatever comes. So let's rinse it out with the sun breath before we take side 2. Inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, let it go with the sighs, you fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Plant, bend those knees, bend the knees, long spine, reach the arms all the way out. And hands to the heart. And let's repeat that second side. So starting again in our Tadasana, step back with the right foot. And then giving yourself that wide enough stance. If you need to move that left foot out a little bit, go for it. Press into that right heel, scoop that tailbone under. Right away, feel those glutes engage. And then anchor that energy out through that right foot. Scoot that left heel forward as much as you need to bend into that knee. And then pausing here as you bring those arms out to the sides, goalpost or cactus arms. Feel both feet actively pressing into the earth. Feel like you're lifting and lengthening out from the hips and pelvis so that spine is long. Breath is steady. And then bringing those arms by your sides, just like we did on that first side, begin to lengthen and tilt slightly forward. So it's a nice diagonal line from the top of your head through that right heel. Imagine squeezing those palms toward each other so you feel those triceps activating, and breathe. Actively press those feet into the earth, like you're trying to push them in opposite directions. And then from here, coming all the way back up, reach those arms to the sky as you lengthen through the left leg and bring hands to the hips. Now, as we begin to come forward into pyramid, again, hinge from the hips, so hip flexion. So we lead with a long spine. Micro bend that left knee once you feel that hamstring group of muscles catch. And then slowly fold, drape your body over that left leg, support your hands with a block. If that right heel is lifted, scoot it forward and ground it. So keep shifting weight back. It's really important. We tend to lean everything forward, but it makes such a difference if you can anchor and ground, pressing back into that right heel. Breathe in, breathe out. And we'll set up for our revolved triangle on the second side. So take that block, press right hand in the block. So ideally it's far enough forward so the wrist and shoulder are in a straight line. That's going to keep your torso long. And then keep those hips level as you take a twist to the left. Keep pressing back rather than leaning forward with the weight of the legs and the weight in that right foot. Take a few more breaths here. And then with that next exhale, release the twist and fold. Drape your body over that left leg. Let the head go. Deep breath in. Exhale to soft side. And then finding your balance here, press through both legs, micro bend that left knee. Let's bring the hands to the thigh and rise all the way up. And as you come to stand, straighten that front leg, arms reach, hands to the heart. Let's step it back up into Tadasana and pause. Feel the power, the strength you've created through both sides with that standing sequence. Return awareness to your intention. And let's rinse it out. Inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale with a sigh as you release and fold back to the earth. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Plant those hands, step it back, and make a choice. Pause and plank. Go through your flow. Of course, you can always reach it back. Downward dog and or child's pose. And then reconnect, tuning in to what's awakening through the movement, through these little pauses in between the movements. And let's take one more breath wherever you are. And as you're ready, let's come on to all fours, onto the hands and knees. And bring those hands and knees again, same width apart, head and neck in alignment with the rest of the spine. Let's stretch the left leg back, press out through that heel. And then float your left leg up, point the toes, flex the foot so it's strong and powerful. Again, from the glute to the heels, though we're standing on that leg. And then option to lift your right arm out in front of you, or if it feels better for the shoulder, hand to hip. We find our spinal balance here. Take a few breaths. And then you can stay here if you want to add on a little core strengthening on the exhale, rounding elbow and knee into each other, hug the core in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Squeeze that breath out. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach. Now as you exhale, bring right hand to the earth, cross the left leg behind the right, and then reach that left heel away. Arms are straight. Breathe into that stretch for the left side. Head to center, float your left leg up. Toes to the earth, ease into high plank. And we'll take it to the other side, lowering the left knee down, press into that right heel. Float your right leg up, keep reaching through that heel. So dorsiflexion, we don't want to open the hip, keep it facing down, draw that core in. We don't even have to lift that left hand. We'll feel the power of pausing here. If you're taking the balance, then you can bring left arm out, left hand to hip, but really press into that left foot and shin. It's going to help keep the balance here. And then of course you can stay right here, or option to add the core strengthening. Left arm can reach out. Exhale, round. Slowing it down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, round. With that last one, arm reaches out, leg extends, hand returns to the earth. Cross your right leg behind your left. Look over your left shoulder as you reach that right foot away. And breathe. Back to center with the head. Float that right leg up. Toes to the earth. And find your reset. Maybe press it back to downward dog. Go through your full vinyasa. Or it might be time to give those hands a little rest here. You can always reach it back to child's pose. And then reset, coming back to your breath. And then on the next breath or two, we'll prepare to come into a seated position. So from wherever you are, we'll sit on up, bring those hips off to one side, legs around in front, and shake them out. Let's take one more windshield wiper twist here, seated, before we move into our cool down and some forward bends. So step those feet as wide as you can, press into the hands, inhale, exhale, knees go to the right, turn to look over your left shoulder. And just pause here for an extra breath. And then inhale to center. Exhale, take it to the other side. Knees left, head to the right. And then back to center. Bring those legs out in front of you. Shake them out. Let's come to Paschimottanasana, big toe bones touching. Bend those knees. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Belly on the thighs. Let the head go. Roll those shoulders back. Might even feel good to just turn that head side to side, stretching through the back, sides of the neck. And take a moment again. Come back to your intention Aligning the head with the heart. And then on your next breath, let's come all the way back up and shake out those legs. And setting up for a deeper twist here, bring the right knee in. You can cross it over. Maybe even bend this bottom knee. Just make sure that right hip can come all the way back down. Otherwise, better off to keep it straight. Let's sit up tall. Left arm around that right shin. And use those arms to really support a long spine. Right? Nice, long, straight spine. And then as you exhale into the twist, you can close your eyes or just find one focal point. But tune in to that feeling of the breath, massaging the inside. So really exaggerating that expansion as the belly reaches into the thigh. And feeling that exhale as the belly draws back in, maybe allowing that twist to deepen just a little bit. And just imagine wringing out any tension that's held in the organs of digestion. And then on your next breath, let's come back through center. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, take that counter twist to the left. And come back through center. Let's uncross, shake it out, and we'll go right over to the other side. So left knee coming in. Whatever you did on that first side with the legs, we can try to match it if it's available. And then sit up tall. Right arm around left shin, left hand around behind. And then pausing here, eyes opened or closed. Feeling into that massage on this left side. And with that next breath, inhale, bring it back through center, lift and lengthen. Exhale, that final counter twist to the right. And then as we untwist, shake it out. And then bringing the soles of the feet to touch for cobbler pose. Bring those feet out a little further if you can, a longer diamond shape. A hand on each shin or knee. Let's inhale, lift and lengthen. And then exhale, leading from your hip bone. So we try to maintain a long spine for as long as possible. And then maybe we pause here with the head lifted, or you can release the weight of the head. And then wherever you are, let's just take about 5 deep breaths here. And you can let your mind wander back to your intention. And let's offer one more breath here before we release. Inhaling deeply. Exhale, let it go. And as you lift your head, come on up. Bring those knees toward each other. And let's scoot towards the top of the mat. So we will have an option to release into restorative bridge at the end. So if you'd like to do that, just have that block somewhere off to the side so it's easily within reach once we are lying down. And then scooting towards the top of your mat, let's just take a little seated cat-cow to release the spine. Inhale, reach forward with your heart. Exhale, rounding halfway down, chin to the chest. One more, inhale, come up. And exhale, slowly descend all the way back onto the earth. Hug those knees in and rock it side to side. And then release that spine even further. Take small circles with both knees to the right. And small circles around to the left. And then as you bring those knees back into the chest, take a full breath here. Exhale it out. And let's plant those feet to the earth. So you have two options here. You can simply pause in constructive rest pose for a few moments, one of our final poses, or we can take that flat, wide setting of the block. We're not looking for a deep, intense back bend here, quite the opposite. So if we're doing restorative bridge, just take that block, flat setting under the hips, under the sacrum. So it shouldn't be under the lower back, but really under your glutes. You can always bring those feet a little wider and make sure the head and neck are comfortable. Arranging those arms to where the shoulders feel relaxed, at ease. And then close your eyes once you've settled in, whether the hips are on the ground in constructive rest or we're in our restorative bridge. Just get a sense of letting the hips and pelvis go. And each exhalation, maybe emphasizing a feeling of heaviness, as if those hips were dropping into the earth, dropping into the support of that block. And with the eyes closed, we'll just pause here a few breaths and just noticing subtle or obvious shift. This is a really nice pose to massage or put a little pressure on the nerve pathways through this part of the spine that connect with our ability to relax or activate the parasympathetic, resting and digesting. Especially for vatas, this is a site of vata as well, part of the spine. So this has a really calming effect on the nervous system, and it can be subtle at first. Right? The more you do it, the more you might be aware of, wow, just a couple minutes later, how much more relaxed and at ease you might be. So a good one to do before bed or in the middle of the day if you find yourself stressed, overwhelmed, overscheduled. Sometimes just taking a couple minutes to reset can make all the difference. So pause here for just a few more moments. Just letting the body give way again to the support of the block, the support of the earth, as you come back to your intention for the practice. And you might notice sometimes our intention or focal point evolves, and we might start out with something at the beginning of a practice. And by the end of the practice, maybe that intention has become more refined. Maybe it has shifted into something else. And then taking another deep breath in. Exhale it out. And if that block is still there, then in the next breath or two, all we're going to do is press into those feet, slide that block out, and slowly release the spine. Readjust neck and shoulders here. And just pause for a moment, hips on the ground. And then letting go of any remaining tension as we offer any final movements before surrendering into stillness. So bring those knees into the chest, and maybe it's just rocking side to side. Maybe you want to come back to a happy baby pose. But do whatever would feel good for your body to feel complete with the physical portion of the practice, so that we can be fully present and aware for the relaxation and stillness portion of Shavasana. And then once you feel complete with any final movements, come into your final resting position, adjusting those limbs in whatever way feels most comfortable for you. And then once you've settled your body into stillness, close your eyes and take 3 final cleansing, clearing breaths. As you can imagine, any remaining tension of the mind, the body, the nervous system, naturally releasing, melting into the earth. And as you now just take a moment to rest in this space that you have awakened within you. As you have settled the body into stillness, now giving that mind that one focal point. As you return to your word or intention. And really just embracing and embodying the power of Shavasana, which is a metaphor, right? Shavasana means corpse pose. And symbolic of dying off to all that has happened prior to this moment. And letting go of all that will happen after this moment. We know that corpse represents non-thinking, non-doing. So just allowing yourself to pause in this exquisite moment of stillness, of silence. And as you imagine withdrawing your senses from the outer environment for the next few moments, and becoming fully aware and tuned in without letting that energy move outside of you. And in this place of awareness, of witnessing, of non-doing, we naturally find ourselves in a state of union or a state of yoga. So we'll enjoy this pause for just a few moments while I'm quiet. Just observing the productivity as you imagine everything you've offered in the name of the practice being absorbed and received in this moment. Those eyes stay closed, just feeling your way back into your body through your breath. And just noticing how you feel after a few moments of pause. And as that breath starts to deepen and awaken even more throughout the body, you need to add a little external movement by wiggling your fingers and your toes. Perhaps letting the face relax into a smile. As you're ready, you can stretch those arms overhead, circling ankles and wrists. And bending the knees, bring those feet back to the earth. As you're ready, slowly bring those knees into the chest and gently rock side to side. And then as you're ready, just roll to one side in preparation to come up. And then we're just going to end with a brief meditation today. So you're welcome to sit on anything that is comfortable for you. Or grabbing your block or a cushion if you'd like to be on the floor. And then establishing your steady seat. Let those shoulders relax. You can close your eyes again. And palms can be face down in more of a grounding, calming meditation. If you'd like to have those palms face up and being more open and receptive to any guidance that you might be seeking, it's just a subtle gesture. And so those palms can be face up or face down. And then bring attention to the center of your forehead and just allowing your word or statements to come back into the focus of your mind. And just pausing here for just a few moments in that single pointed focus. The more focused our mind is at the beginning of the day, then it might be a little easier to maintain control of the mind and the senses as we go through the rest of the day. It might be easier to ward off distractions, worries, chaos, because we've created that foundation of a centered, focused mind to guide us into the day. And just sitting for a few moments with that focal point. As you bring awareness to your heart, just coming back to our collective awareness for the practice. I'm just holding this awareness in your heart. As I heal myself, I then can hold space for the healing of others. As I connect with the happiness within myself and my life, and my presence can support the happiness of others. As I feel inspired to give or serve in whatever way I can, I might inspire others to do the same, simply by leading with my actions, leading with my heart. And so just take a moment to think of someone in your life that is unhappy. Perhaps someone who is angry, bitter, negative. It might be someone who is difficult to be around. And yet, can you imagine the pain, the suffering, the wounds that are present and awakened within them for them to act or behave in such a way? So the sad truth is when we look at the world, it's a lot of projections and reaction of trauma, of pain, of hurt, of wounds, and just keep perpetuating suffering. So on this path of yoga, it is really up to us to lead the way, to show up differently. Not because we know better, but because we can. And so just take that to heart as we move into the day. If we encounter people who rub us the wrong way, if we encounter people who are angry, bitter, sad, confused, hurting, and perhaps it can remind us of how far we've come in our own personal journey of healing. And to shed a little light and compassion as we simply learn how to hold space in a neutral way. As we observe or witness others navigating through their darkness. So with that, let's bring those palms to touch in front of the heart. And we bow to that place within us that has compassion for our own suffering and our own healing. And through this compassion, may it lead us to understanding and the ability to hold space for others in their healing and their suffering, without taking it personally and without reacting with our own wounds projected at that person or that event. And so we bow to this place where we align with, in the name of yoga, that gives us permission to heal the unconscious parts of ourselves. And as we do, we create an impact or make a difference in the world around us. So bow to this place where we come together as one. In this space, we bow to our happiness, our health, and the many blessings present in our life today. Thank you so much for sharing your time, your practice, your presence with myself and each other. And in this yogic state, we bow together as divine reflections of each other. Namaste.